So Notre Dame is looking at adding an interior defensive lineman in this 2025 class. Jalen Wiggins is someone who Chad Bowden went and saw last week, Notre Dame's director of player personnel, and extended an offer to Wiggins, the top 100 prospect and Florida commitment from Tallahassee, by the way, um, which is, of course, where Florida State's at. So that's an interesting kind of subplot here. Tallahassee kid coming to the Florida Gators. I bet that goes over well in his hometown. But yeah, Tim, Kyle and I kind of got into a discussion about he thinks that Notre Dame really needs to dive into more taking another like a Viper, but Notre Dame is eyeing more of an interior defensive lineman. So thoughts on this offer and kind of this whole discussion?
Yeah, I actually watched a little bit of his film earlier today. Good looking football player. I mean, you're getting a guy out of the SEC, you're getting a guy out of away from the Gators. If they're able to pull him and whatnot. Yeah, he plays a ton of and definitely looks like a dude who's gonna just balloon up and just be a monster playing on the interior. But good little energy. He just looks like a strong football player, point of attack and whatnot. It's got some good little hip movement I saw on his film. Mike, seriously, man, if they go in and get another Florida guy, I'm gonna have to eat crow because Notre Dame stunk at Florida for it seems like forever. And they're getting some dudes this year, man. They're getting some straight up. We're gonna come into Notre Dame and play early type of athletes. But yeah, you know what? And I'll be with you because this is another discussion we have a ton is on D line, but it goes back to my, talking last week where one of my spring football was the 23-24 class. Those guys are getting better. So they're all redshirt freshmen, true freshmen that are going to redshirt next year. So you come into 2025 with a lot of young bodies that have been in development for 2 and 3 years. So it's not, I don't, and that's probably, my being sweet and cuddly. I don't think it's as dire as need as so many people.
Talking about Viper?
Just D-line in general with some of these guys that are playing. And what the portal is, Mike, there's always going to be a fifth-year guy, right? There's always going to be some older – I mean, Baptiste got drafted. He barely played for 5 years at Ohio State, goes to Notre Dame as a 6-year guy. So there's going to be those down the road guys who don't play for 4 now that the COVID's going to be going away, who just going to, boom, I got a lot of playing time at Duke. I could come start for you from a year and be a 6th, 7th round draft pick. There's going to be a ton of those guys down the road. But I think Notre Dame has done a pretty solid job recruiting 4 guys each and every year. And I think it will show in next year's depth that 23-24 class takes shape. And the same thing at Viper. Botella's going to be gone. Junior's going into his last year. But then you still got a bunch of young guys that they've recruited. And we know that Viper is a damn linebacker. It's a stand-up rush linebacker hybrid type guy.
So who do you like there moving forward, like after this year?
Well, I hope it's the dude they're getting out of Jay Sarah, Faramo. I hope that's the guy who it is down the road. Man, Faramo is an absolute – that's the position I see him at. That dude would be unbelievable hanging off the edge, rolling from there. So just keep recruiting linebackers, man. Recruit a bunch of linebackers. You're going to find one of those guys to rush. That's the way I look at it. So,
okay. All right. So
thinking a little bit of different tilt, like especially after the spring game. Like a lot of these young guys are going to be really good next year.
Okay, but yeah, let's move back to Wiggins specifically. Committed to Florida. One of my coworkers who covers the Gators for On3 was just at his practice today and sent me an interview where Wiggins was talking about Notre Dame and Florida and whatnot. I haven't even listened to it yet. I'm sure I will tomorrow, and I'll have that story at blueandgold.com. But I put this in my Lucky Charms article earlier today, but you can find it there. But Wiggins is apparently interested in Stanford. So that just right there tells you a little bit. Like, one, his recruitment's not locked down, and 2, he's a fantastic student. If Stanford is looking at you, you're a really good student. So Jalen Wiggins, I would not want to get on his bad side. Like, this looks like a bad mofo for sure. Like, top 100 prospect, number 92 overall prospect, Tallahassee James Rickards. Florida commit. It's been
Very
committed there for
physical.
just a few months.
Yeah, and I'll say very physical on film. Dude likes contact. He's not soft whatsoever. So, but as you know in recruiting, the key is what? Get him up for a visit.
Yeah.
And if he comes up for a visit, as you know, Mike, they're in the game.
So Dylan Robinson, Notre Dame offered him 6'2", 190 pounds from the same high school as Noah McHale, who, by the way, Tim, I'm sure you're very sad by this. He's not
coming.
Doesn't look like he's coming to Notre Dame.
He's not coming in, do you?
So number 314 overall players, listed as an athlete because some schools are recruiting him as a defensive back. Notre Dame likes him at receiver. Offers from UCLA, Utah, Washington, Penn State, Boise, Michigan State, Arkansas. Nice little offer list. So Mike Brown was in Southern California last week, stopped by Bonita, and then Robinson announced the news, I believe Monday night, that he got the offer from the Irish. So anytime Notre Dame kind of makes an offer at this point in the cycle, because Notre Dame's not offering many new guys in the 2025 class these days. Yeah. It's all, I mean, everyone's always like, well, does that mean we're not getting Derek Meadows? No. I mean, I was told, this week that conversations between Notre Dame and Meadows have been fantastic. That doesn't mean they're definitely going to get him, it doesn't mean they're going to get him, but just means that the Irish, feel like they're in a good spot with Meadows, but you can't put all your eggs into just a couple baskets. So Notre Dame could take up to 2 more receivers, and they only have 4 guys on the board right now. So it makes sense if you're going to take maybe 2 more to have more options. So Robinson, some of the staff offered. So I do have his film pulled up, Tim, if you want to tell us what you think about him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tall, good-looking wide receiver. Watch his first few plays. He's one of those guys, same thing. You watch first few plays, watch his athleticism, the way he goes and grabs that football, can plant, cut. Here's him playing dead side tight end. Boom. Goes out and just outruns everybody. He's a good football player. He's all CIF. All CIF is region for his region and whatnot. Division 5, solid, not wild, crazy, public school region, so to speak. Ventura was in that Division 5, which has a hell of a linebacker that they offered in the 2026 cycle. I know who's visited, but good football player, Mike. He's a SoCal guy, so he's used to throwing that ball and catching the ball. I think 30-something yards a catch he averaged last year. They had a stud senior last year. I went and did a little homework on him the other night when he got offered, that sucked up a ton of yards. But good football player. I mean, he's a guy. I mean, you watch this guy's film from start to finish. Mike, me personally, I mean, I know I'm SoCal biased, as we like to say in California. I think he's better than the receivers they have committed now. That's just my humble opinion. So this guy could play. So, you still got Meadows on the board. He's got obviously his big. I saw his finalist when you finalists official visits.
Yeah.
ND, what is it? ND, Georgia, Alabama. And Taylor. I think that might be some of the biggest news is getting Taylor on a visit. And
Taylor,
3 officials.
Yeah.
Just because there's been so much Taylor's leaving the area. But man, Mike, if they pull that up, I know he's a Chicago guy, but doesn't it feel like that would be a big shocker in this class?
Yeah. It wouldn't be if they get Taylor, because he's visited 6 times.
I get that.
But I've been hearing for the longest time it wasn't going to be Notre Dame.
Georgia, Ohio State.
Ohio State. Notre Dame's running 3rd, and now it's I think Georgia might lead now, but this might be just end up one of those situations where it just falls into Notre Dame's lap.
Close to home. Notre Dame loses those guys all the time. They end up, I'm just going to stay local and go to Florida. That happens a ton. So
it could work out finally in the Irish's favor.
I agree, but I like Robinson. However it falls and whatnot. I think Kyle posted his article. He's already setting up visits. So
yeah,
good, solid, tall. He's a tall
receiver.
So we got